listening to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Well, it's like when we audit the mod with Logic and give them the action items that they're going to use to lower their total cost of risk.
Tactical skills that will help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Technology is not an expense, it's an investment. Look at what Think HR has done for our clients and even our team. It's an amazing product, and I'm so thankful we have that.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Things are changing for us in 2021. Not all big business anymore. Now that we have Cover Wallet on our team, it's amazing that we're going to be able to write small business profitably.
This is Power Producer Shop Talk. Production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Power Producers Shop Talk. It's another Friday. And today, we're going to talk about something that Vanilla Ice has been preaching to us for decades now. Stop, collaborate, and listen. That's it.
Excellent.
Dude, I mean, who knew that Vanilla Ice could be the world's greatest producer trainer with that advice?
With those three simple words.
So for the rest of this episode, I'd like for everybody to check out the hook while my DJ revolves it.
God.
This horrible.
Is so bad.
Yeah,
this is so bad.
No, I mean, seriously, that is what I want to talk about today. And we've talked about it a little bit before in terms of how much people talk in an appointment and talk themselves out of a deal, right? But I think part of it,
100%.
too, has to do with the fact that they don't prepare for the appointment correctly. They don't sit down and actually plan out their questioning the way they should and come up with good open-ended questions to facilitate the conversation. I think that's the biggest issue in all of that is people.
That's interesting to me because I have to do that. Otherwise, I get like massive anxiety. Like the worst thing for me is not preparing for something because I don't want to look like an idiot. So I would, that's crazy. Do you think that's something that people are doing that have been in the game, a while? Like it can't be new producers that are doing that because that defies logic. It's got to be, you're talking about producers that have been around a while.
Yeah, in general. I mean, I think the ones who've been around a while are the ones that train the ones who haven't been around a while, and so it just perpetuates the issue.
But I could see somebody who's been in the game for a little bit just kind of walking into an appointment and running with it versus actually, full on preparing and thinking about questions that are going to be asked and what questions you want to ask or objections that you may get. So that makes a little bit more sense to me than a brand new producer not preparing. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I've always looked at it this way, even when I talk with other producers that are new, and, I think you should prepare for your appointments like an attorney who's preparing for a deposition, right? Now, unfortunately, I've been through a couple of depositions in my career, nothing that I was guilty of, usually as a witness to something or whatever else, but I can tell you that it is like really much easier to map things out that way. So the most recent deposition I was in was probably at this point 7 or 8 years ago, and I had a client who had a claim, and it was a weird situation because I didn't write the package policy for them at the time. They had part of their stuff with Willis, and I handled their professional liability, their workers' comp, and something else, but I had told them they needed to keep the package where it was. I didn't have access to Westfield, and the pricing was ridiculous. So, I'm obviously never going to put somebody in a bad position that way. I just helped them. They had an agent who was on his way out, sort of checked out the door already, and, not really active in anything. And these guys had a squirrel that chewed into an electrical line, got fried, shorted out the transformer, and destroyed some equipment. Okay, now this was a food testing laboratory, so equipment was important.
Yeah.
Not that equipment's not important anywhere else, but I mean, it was kind of like the whole, everything they did revolved around it.
Purpose, right?
And this guy, because I didn't handle the package, it was one of those deals where I always had to remind him to let me know of
love
things
handling packages.
so that I could give him advice, right? So I'm having lunch with him, and he mentions to me, yeah, I really wish that you could help me with this other stuff. We had this claim that was denied like 5 or 6 months ago. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, time out. You had this claim that was denied 5 or 6 months ago. Why am I just now hearing about it? And he walks me through everything, and he tells me that they tendered it with Westfield, and that Westfield declined it, as they should have. That's not a package claim. But I asked him, I said, if memory serves me right, this agent also had written a mechanical breakdown, like boiler machinery policy. Like, this is the only business I know of that I've ever called on in Florida that has a boiler. They legitimately have a boiler. And so usually that's something that you see up north, but they needed it for their equipment that is, as we have already discussed, is vital to their process. So anyhow, I asked him, I said, you have this boiler and machinery policy, and I have a feeling you may find coverage there. Did the other agent tender it with the boiler and machinery policy? And he said, I don't know that he did. I said that he needs to do that immediately. And so some things went back and forth, and basically I told this group they needed $1 million in business income when the policy was originally written. Before I'd ever reviewed it, it was written with like $100,000 of business income. And I said, this needs to be at $1 million based on where your revenue is. I had him do a business income worksheet, fill it out, and it was like $982,000. So we rounded it up to $1 million, and that's what I told him to request. And he went back and he requested the $1 million. He had proof that he requested it, and the other agent never asked. They left it at $100,000. And so as the claim is getting adjusted, there became an E&O claim against the other agent. Right. And I was being deposed because they were under the impression that I had given bad advice at the time and that I had looked over the policy. And this is I'm telling everybody this because you need to pay attention even when you're just giving somebody advice or reviewing something, whether you place the policy or not. And so the allegation was that I had not reviewed the policy thoroughly and only recommended it. And, by the way, once the policy was issued, I never went back and reviewed the issued policy to confirm that the $1 million had been added. Okay, that was the allegations against me. And that deposition got shut down. That angle for the attorney got shut down in a hurry because I'm like, well, look, here's the email where I told him to ask for $1 million. And if the other agent confirmed that he was doing it and he placed the policy, why would I go back to look if it's not given to me to look at? Like, that's not my role. I'm not responsible for that policy. I advised my client on what to do. They asked for what I asked for. The other agent acknowledged he was doing it and then just never did. Right. But what's interesting is it's the first time that and by the way, my client won like the business income claim for like $600,000 or $700,000. So nice. It ended up working out. But the guy that deposed me had the legal pad with his preparation sitting on the table of the conference room we were sitting at, and it was like in plain sight for me. So, like, he's asking me a question, but I'm pulling the old scratch my neck and look down at the table, and seeing what I was reading 2 and 3 questions in advance of what he was going to ask me, so I could begin preparing my answers in my head as I was answering the question that was on the table right now. Right. But all of that to say, it was interesting to see how he structured it because he would write a question. Then he would project 2 or 3 answers that he thought I would give.
Okay, I remember this story now.
Yeah, and then he would have a tree from there based on, well, if David answers this way, then I need to ask this follow-up question or this follow-up question or this follow-up. I should have just sat there and everything he asked me just looked at him and said, I like cheese. And just left it at that. But anyhow, it was really crazy because I couldn't believe I could see it, but it was like a moment of clarity for me. And it actually changed the way I prepare for my middle market appointments now. I'll actually do the same thing. There are times that I'll walk into a first appointment and I filled up half of a legal pad just by my questions and projected answers.
Yeah.
And I find that not only does it keep me prepared to ask the right questions and get the good information, it also gives me the appearance of being prepared because I'm flipping through multiple pages, and the person that I'm talking to obviously is seeing me do that and realizes, holy cow, this guy put some effort into this. This is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the thing. I'm interested, though. I mean, we talk about this and have, quite a few times about people over talking in an appointment, talking themselves out of the deal.
Right.
I think there's two things that if producers are going to be successful in the foreseeable future, there's two things they need to do. Number one, they need to perfect the art of asking open-ended questions so that they just ask a question and then they let the prospect run with it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is they need to learn how to ask questions to get the no instead of the yes right away. And we've talked about that. We've done an entire episode on that. But I'd like to focus a little bit on the open-ended questions because I think that if you're good at that and you perfect that art, you will close a lot of business that way. And the reason why is because if you ask questions the right way, you're going to be able to drive a wedge and allow that prospect to come to the conclusion that they're not getting what they're paying for. And you've never said anything at all to trash their existing agent.
Right.
Like, I don't have to go in.
Yeah, it plants that seed. Like, they understand without you saying it directly that they're not getting the type of service that they should, just based on the questions that you're asking.
Yeah. So when your agent came in to do the mid-year claims review prior to the preliminary mod coming out, what strategy did you come up with as to what you're going to do with the open claims from last year?
Right. That didn't happen.
Okay, well, A, it didn't happen, and B, why do I have open claims from last year? That joker never told me there were claims that were still open, and how does that affect me? Is it going to cost me more money? Right. Or, when your agent came out and did the experience modification factor audit for you and presented what your minimum mod is and also showed you how many points each employee that was injured or each accident is costing you, and then multiply that out by the total number of dollars that it was going to cost you, how'd that make you feel? And most of the time, I was pissed, man. I was pissed. John Smith has 4 claims, and I didn't even realize, And so you can go down that road, and it doesn't have to just be around those things. Hey, the last time that you reviewed your buy-sell agreement, were you adequately insured to fund that with life insurance?
Yeah, there was no review.
When you looked at your investment policy statement for the 401k last time, and then subsequently compared your fund selections to the Morningstar style box to look for style drift, were you in good shape, or were there issues there that needed to be corrected? And all of those things are questions you can ask because they're things that agents should be asking when they represent somebody. And if they're not asking those things or they're not doing those things, that's a big problem for the prospect, but it's a win for you because by asking those types of questions, you're going to lead them to exactly where you want them to be. What are some that you've used in the past?
Open-ended questions.
That was an open-ended question to ask me an open-ended question. I'll do the questioning here.
No, one of the ones that I heard from you that I like is, and it's simple, but it just gets people talking. Is what keeps you up at night about your business? I think that's a great one because if you're, and obviously this is a conversation you're having with the business owner, but they like talking about their business and themselves if they're an effective business owner, right? But it also it starts them down a path where they're going to tell you their pain pretty much immediately. And it's an indirect way of saying, instead of sitting there trying to dig and find, a wedge and drive, they're going to give it to you right there,
Well, I'm dealing with this right now. I mean, I told you I've got this account that Marvin was kind enough to book for me. That's a pretty good sized account. I went in and did all my preliminary. Yeah, I went in and did my preliminary research, and it's been with the same carrier for like 10 or 15 years. The mod is in the .7s, and I'm like,
is this the bus?
Yeah, I'm like, why are you meeting with me? What is it
Right.
that you want? And so I'm thinking maybe this is one of those deals where they just told Marvin yes to get him off the phone.
Right.
And I actually was supposed to have my call with the person who had scheduled with me this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
And before the call, I had an unfamiliar number on my cell phone, and I answered it, and it was this VP that I'm supposed to be meeting with. And she said, "Hey, I've got a meeting with you. I never saw the confirmation come through. I was actually going to decline it." Or actually, what she said was, "I saw the meeting request come through, but I didn't accept it because I wanted to meet on March 24th and not February 24th. This is a May renewal." And she said, "I do really want to talk to you. So can we do it on March 24th at the same time?" I'm like, well, yeah. So now my curiosity is really piqued by like, okay, something happened. Maybe they've got a bad year this year and they know that it's coming. And I haven't seen that yet because it's not on the mod. But, when she's the only person out of all of those booked appointments that asks for some, information to be sent over prior to the meeting.
Okay.
So I went in and I pulled. This is one of those situations where human resources handles the comp, and more than likely the controller or somebody in the financial unit is handling all of the other lines.
Okay.
So this is a comp conversation with the VP of HR, and so immediately went into Think HR and pulled out like all of their sales slicks that are co-branded. I don't even know if you've had a chance to go in and look at those yet. They've got some really nice marketing slicks in there that are branded with their stuff and our stuff. But very specifically, I knew I was dealing with the HR person, so I couldn't just go in with the low-hanging fruit that we normally would. It was a little bit more technical. So I sent her information on all of the complimentary webinars that she would have access to as being part of Think HR that are given by, SHRM designees. I sent her over information on the learning management system. I sent her over information on OSHA compliance.
So did she just ask for like, was she just like, could you send me some information and that's as simple as it was? Or did she ask? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just some basic information. So I gave her a little narrative about Florida Risk, invited her to check out the website.
Yeah.
And then I gave her some collateral from Think, and I also gave her some collateral around what we do from a workers' comp perspective.
Did you get into it with her at all about why they took the meeting, or did that not?
No.
Okay.
No. I never had a chance because she was literally calling just to reschedule. So obviously she liked what I sent her. I mean, I'm thinking if I sent her some information and she wasn't interested, then this wouldn't have gone anywhere. But I was impressed. She picked up the phone and called me to reschedule the meeting, and I'm pumped, man. I mean, this is a really good size.
Oh, so that happened after you sent her the stuff? Did she
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when Marvin originally booked the appointment is when she asked for some information to be sent over. I sent all of that over immediately.
And then she was yesterday, like, "Hey, we need."
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, no. So I'm pumped about it, man. So I'm like sitting here now thinking, okay, 2021. Big Dog hadn't been out on any middle market appointments, in the recent past, because I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
But this will be a good one, man. This one has my interest peaked, and
nice.
I'm gonna go in with my A game. I'll be interested to see. I'm just trying to figure out what are my questions.
Right.
I'm going to. They're probably going to have absolutely nothing to do. Well, I can tell you they're going to have nothing to do with workers' comp. They're not going to have anything to do with the mod because the mod's good and they're with a carrier they've been with forever. I mean, maybe I can improve the situation. Maybe I can't. Mm-hmm. But I'm really interested in. Talk to me about your training program. Talk to me about your hiring process.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about your return to work program. Talk to me about toolbox talks and all of the other things that they should be doing because that's really where I'm going to I feel like I'm going to relate to this person, especially because all the premium in Florida is state administered pricing anyhow. But I'm looking forward to prepping for this meeting and asking open-ended questions, and then deep diving and doing my research to see if I can figure out what the story is. I mean, I've even Googled to see if there was an accident.
That's what I'm saying.
Fatality,
I think you're right. I think that that would be the only thing I can think of that something happened. Because like you said, their mod is 0.75 or something like that, 7.3 or. Yeah, so maybe
but here's the thing, man. This is the interesting juxtaposition. We're so focused on going out and writing accounts that have problems that a lot of times, I mean, I'm guilty of this, and you are too, just based on our interaction this morning, on this topic. We're so focused on going out and writing the accounts that have problems that we completely miss the fact that we do have best-in-class resources and a really good platform of value-add stuff that companies that are already doing really good but want more, we're attractive to them too.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And you're right, you don't think of it because when there's not accounts that are having issues, you don't think that you need to fix anything really. Like there's stuff, that we can obviously provide them that could drop their mod lower or just, give their employees and, more resources and make their culture a little bit more I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
Well,
lost my
here's
train
the
of
thing,
thought.
man.
Your blue lights behind you freaking just blinded me, and I lost my train of thought.
If I go in and I bring this thing back, this will pay for Marvin for 2 years plus.
There we go.
We
need to do a follow-up episode on this.
We will. Yeah, we will. But, and that's the whole thing. I mean, think about this. Everything we've just talked about validates Marvin's existence to set appointments.
Yeah.
There is 0% chance I would have picked up the phone to try and book an appointment with this company.
No.
And if it ends up being a positive experience and we close the business and bring this account on the books, it is 100% a result of me making the decision to hire an appointment setter at the first of the year, period.
Right.
So I'm pumped, man.
Yeah. We'll have to follow up and see how it goes, man. That's good. I remember when you sent me the email, and I looked at, I clicked on their website link. I'm like, okay, dude, what is this? Like,
how bad do I want the recording of that call to set the appointment? And it's not in there. Although I will tell you, I did talk to Lightspeed Voice yesterday, and they have launched a new HubSpot integration. They've upgraded the one that was there before. And I don't know if it's fully there yet or not, but it looks like it is. And what I was going to say is, I went into Duran's profile, like some people that he had called. Like I was looking, he had some questions on a personal lines account, and I went in to see the notes on it or whatever. But when I did, the call was not like that external link that you clicked and had to log in to listen to. It's embedded in the contact now. Yeah, with a player. You just hit the button to play it, and you play it inside HubSpot.
Nice.
Pumped about that.
Yeah, that's way slicker.
Yeah, because if it, I still have access to that raw recording, but for me, what I like about it is I can download those calls, and if it's something good that I can use for training or whatever else, I'll pull it out and share it and do whatever else. I mean, but specific to Marvin, man, that's huge. That saves me. That's more efficient for me. It saves me a lot of time because I don't have to go log into a second site and all of that. It's all in that same dashboard.
Yep.
So I'll be interested to see if that's the only improvement or if there's more. But listen, people, think about open-ended questions. Ask them. They're everywhere. They're all around. Hey, when the stock market tanked with COVID and your employees took a little dip in their 401k, are you comfortable that your fiduciary liability is where it needs to be in case there was any kind of a disruption? I could I could just go for days, but I'm not, because it's Friday, it's the weekend. These people are sick of hearing us ramble.
Yes.
So I'm out.
Cool. See you
later.
You've been listening to Power Producers Shop Talk. You can follow us at the Power Producers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to take your game to the next level, check out our commercial insurance training course at killingcommercial.com or visit Amazon to pick up a copy of our international best-selling book, The Extra 2 Minutes.